Hello everyone, in this lecture we will talk more about the calculate function. So the calculate function really has its depth. It can lead you from context to aggregations to everything else in dashboards. So remember that when we were introducing the calculate function, we mentioned that there are three key points to this function. It can combine the aggregation with the context, it can return a single value, and it can expand and shrink the context. I want to bring your attention to the fact that it returns a single value. So there are really a lot of things you can do with a single value. For example, you can use values from other measures built with calculate. Why? Because those calculate would return a single value, and a single value plus or minus or divided by a single value would still give you another single value. So it still qualifies as a calculate function. You can use a calculate that refers to another calculate that refers to another calculate. In addition, the other measures that you use can have a different context or aggregation. Let me show you what I mean. So here we are with our DAX Essential Workbook. And let's go ahead and create two measures first. We're going to calculate the total insurance sales using the calculate function. So will be sum of sales amount. Right. But we need to filter that in the simple table. We want to filter on the product, and that equals to insurance. So that's our first measure. Then we're going to create a second measure that reports on the total investment sales. So because they are so similar to each other, I'm going to make a copy of this measure and just create a new measure. And then you just delete everything and Control V, paste this into this formula bar. And we're just going to modify this to investment sales and this to investment. Apply your changes. Okay, now you see we have two measures. So total insurance sales, drop it to the canvas, turn it into a table, and total investment sales too. There we go. And these two measures are using different calculation contexts because we applied different filters. So investment sales is filtering for investment product, and insurance sales is filtering on the insurance product. So they have different calculation contexts. And now we're going to create another measure. This measure is called insurance to investment sales ratio. So insurance to investment sales ratio, a very long name, but that's okay. This will be calculate, and we're going to use the insurance total sales divided by the total investment sales. How about that? And you can see here we don't need to add any other filters. We're just using a new aggregation, that is the total insurance sales and total investment sales as the aggregation method here. So pay attention that the insurance sales and investment sales are using different calculation contexts, but they can still work together in this new measure. Let's see if that's true. So apply your change and bring this new measure to the table. I'm gonna move this lower, expand the table, and you can see it's showing up a value 1.04, and that is the insurance sales 5.2 divided by 5. Okay, so you see that even if your measures are using different calculation contexts, they can still work together in another measure using the calculate. And we can do even better than that. Remember in the very beginning of introducing DAX, we talked about a request from the system administration department. They're asking us to exclude records with the withdrawal amount equals to 0.5, and that is because 0.5 are system corrections. If we want to calculate the insurance sales to investment sales ratio, but we want to exclude this row. Can we do that with the calculate function? You bet we can. Let's take a look. We haven't used any filters. We can actually do that by just adding a filter. So we're going to filter on the simple table again, but we're going to filter on the withdrawal amount. So withdrawal amount cannot equal to, that means not equal to 0.5. That's the requirement, right? So now close the filter function and make sure that the parentheses are matching. Then apply your change. Voila! So the number changed to 0.84. What is happening? Let's go to the dataset. And let me bring up the measure we created. Okay. So what is happening is, first, this measure is filtering on the simple table and remove all the rows equal to 0.5 in the withdrawal amount. That is the first row. So the first row is excluded. Then it's going to calculate total insurance sales. Remember, in the total insurance sales, we have a filter on the product equal to insurance. So since the first row is already excluded, it's going to look at the second row and third row and see which one has product equal to insurance. Which one is that? Only the second one. So it's going to take this row and calculate sales amount. That shows up as 4.2. And same goes with the investment. So the first row has been excluded with our first measure, insurance over investment sales ratio. And it's going to look at the second row and third row, figure out which product equal to investment. Oh, it's the third row. So it's going to take this row. And then it's going to take this row sales amount, which is 5. Okay. So now we come back to the measure. So we have 4.2 for the total insurance sales, and we have 5 for total investment sales. So it's 4.2 divided by 5, and the result is 0.84. Isn't that magical? So combining the ability to modify the calculation context and affecting the calculation context of the measures used in the aggregation, we have a ton of flexibility to achieve what we want in real-life asks. Alright, so that's it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!